Siomra Beag.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Tiny Room. Welcome back to the digital Siomra Beag. I'm the Michael of Michaelandbenjaminspodcast, and I am joined, as once and always, by the once and future king of podcasting. It's Benjamin.
Hello, it's me. Hi, how are you? Hi.
That's exactly how King Arthur reacted when he found out that he was the once and future king.
That is exactly how he reacted. Exactly.
He's like, "Oh, governor, get this stone, mate."
And then, Michael, he ordered a ginormous choir to sing his praises, and it went a little something like this.
Theme music for the podcast. We don't actually have any theme music.
Yes, good. Benjamin.
Yes.
Now, riddle me this, why don't you?
Okay.
Have you seen, Ben, that we talked about last week, or maybe the week before, because time has lost all meaning, Benjamin, but we talked about last week or maybe the week before, Stephen King's The Stand.
We did. That's what we talked about, Michael. That is exactly what you and I talked about.
Yes, Benjamin, and we had a great debate about whether The Stand or It was longer.
I think it's The Stand, isn't it? Isn't
The Stand
is
is
longer.
The Stand is 14 pages longer than It, Ben. I checked.
What a triumph.
In the meantime, I checked. So The Stand might be the longest book I've ever read from start to finish.
That's pretty good, Michael. That's pretty good.
I know most of the words, Ben. I know most of the words.
You're a man of words, Michael.
Sister Abigail. Mother Abigail?
Mother Abigail.
Yeah, Sister Abigail is from wrestling. Is from the wrestling. Benjamin.
Yes.
In a bit of a mad coincidence, Ben, they've released a trailer for the new TV show, The Stand.
Michael, I would love to claim that I had an entire, plan that we'd coincide and be. I don't. None of that worked out that way. It's just really random that series was ready to drop a week after we did an episode on it.
Absolutely epiphanous, Ben. It's quite an interesting trailer, Ben. Would you like to hear what I found was the most interesting thing I found about the trailer for the TV show, The Stand?
Go on, you surprised me there.
Right, I'm going to do a kind of a vocal recreation of it, Ben, because we can't do it in the medium of images, because this is a podcast.
Yes, Michael, that's how it works.
So this is what the trailer said to me. Coming soon, a new TV show from the creator of It, Stephen King, starring all of your favorite actors: James Marsden, Whoopi Goldberg, Alexander Skarsgård, Amber Heard, and many others.
That's a pretty spot on impression there, Michael. Pretty spot on.
What I'm saying, Ben? I was saying you would be very hard pushed from this trailer to know that Amber Heard was in this.
Yeah, she's been fairly sidelined, lads.
Slightly marginalised.
Slightly being the overstatement of the.
I think she's in one shot, Ben.
There.
She's in one shot.
Yeah, look, Michael, I'd say there's a few projects with Amber Heard in them right now, and people are going, "Oh
no! Why do we have Amber Heard? She's worse than Johnny Depp, allegedly.
She's worse than Johnny Depp, which takes some doing."
Remember when we thought Johnny Depp was the worst, and we started not promoting him? Now look, this is even worse.
It was the other one of the Depps.
Oh no, it might have been both of them, Ben. We still don't know.
I think it was a pair of pricks in it, Michael.
Who do we know, Ben? Who do we know? How do we know? But look, Ben, I think it looks good. I think Alexander Skarsgård looks excellent as Matthew McConaughey as Randall Flagg.
He's very good, Michael. He's a little bit better than I don't know. He seems very Las Vegas magician, which I suppose is very suitable for.
Yeah, because Ben, that's his character. You see.
Yes, he's a Las Vegas magician. You see, he's very good, Michael.
Well, we don't know that, do we? Because we haven't seen him yet.
But I'm going to give it to Alexander right now, Michael. He's fairly decent. I would reckon he's going to. I feel sorry for James Marsden.
James Marsden, he was Cyclops, Ben, if you remember. You're a favorite Cyclops.
The most beloved character of the original Bryan Singer X-Men franchise.
Yeah.
Most memorable, most beloved, definitely not killed off in the first 15 minutes of the third installment of the film.
What a great arc. He had a great arc, Ben. In the third installment of the film.
Yeah, definitely a real character doing real things. I feel sorry for him, because if those two clash, and they will, Michael, he's going to be acted off the screen.
I don't think Alexander Skarsgård is that great an actor, Ben.
Will you hush now? We'll wait and see.
What has he been good in?
True Blood, Michael, a bloody sensation.
It was a bloody sensation, but that was more about him being a big sexy bastard. That wasn't about his good acting.
Wasn't he?
He's just a big sexy plank, Ben. I find.
A big sexy bastard, wasn't he?
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, Ben, if you think about some of the real hits of James Marsden, he carried the film Sonic the Hedgehog.
He did on his average shoulders.
Yeah. So, I mean, if carrying an implausible CG character through an entire film is what we need, then I'm sure he'll be fine with Alexander Skarsgård. See what I've done there? I was saying he's implausible looking because he's so
I enjoyed
sexy.
the aesthetic, Michael. I enjoyed the aesthetic. The neon signs throughout the strange liminal space of the desert.
Yeah. It's Las Vegas, Ben.
It's Las Vegas, Michael. Very good, though. Very good, though.
Yeah. Because you remember you were saying a Las Vegas magician.
He's a Las Vegas magician, you see, Michael.
Yeah, and a prick.
And a prick. Michael,
Yeah.
Tell me something now. Tell me something
I
now.
will.
You as
I
a
will.
wise man, Michael.
I'm quite wise, yeah.
The Randall flag in the stand, is that pre the Dark Tower, or is this Randall flag kind of manifesting himself as a result of the turmoil in our Earth? I'm confused.
I think Randall Flagg is cross-dimensional.
Oh, is he? He's an interdimensional traveller.
Yeah. I think. As I said, Ben, no great reader of the Dark Tower series am I.
We'll have to get good...
Yeah, good friend of the podcast, Shane, he could tell us. But
Yeah.
it is Randy Flagg, though. It's the same Randy Flagg.
Okay, it's the same...
That's like
Watch your drinks around that bloody
Randy
triangle there.
Flagg. Yeah, keep your eye out. Keep your hand over your pint when Randy Flagg is around. He's an old...
That's the best joke we've ever made on this podcast.
I don't think so, Ben. Remember a few weeks ago when you said 10A was the apartment that Christopher Nolan lived in? That was one of my favourites, I have to say, because I didn't get it, and I like jokes that I don't get initially, and then they turn out to be funny.
And they give you a little chuckle.
It's one of my favourites. So I'm looking forward to Stephen King's The Stand.
The Stand by Stephen King. It's going to be very good, Michael.
I don't know that for a fact now, Ben.
It's going to be 100% the best. The best.
Ben,
I've seen TV. TV is the best. I'm the best at TV. Nobody's better than me.
You've got a little Donald Trump.
I know, that's
you're
the
just
problem.
promoting things with no knowledge if they're going to be good or not.
Yeah, it's going to be fine. It's going to work out. It's going to be the best TV series ever.
Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be great.
Everything's going to be fine. I have my best people on it. I have the best
actor.
people. The best podcast.
That's what are we doing? Benjamin.
Yes.
I tell you what, though.
Go on.
Something else looks good.
I didn't go on. Tell me more.
I'll tell you now, Ben. I don't know if you know this, Ben, but one of my favourite comics is the Image comic series Invincible. Have we ever talked about it on the podcast?
I don't think you've ever mentioned that in the history of our podcast.
Yeah. So it's a small independent Image comic by small independent Image comic writer Robert Kirkman.
Yes, Robert Kirkman.
Yeah, it's about, imagine if Superman had a son.
Yes.
And then that son had to learn how to be a superhero from Superman and was going through all the trials and tribulations of being a teenage superhero son.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Imagine that. Wouldn't that be
great.
good? And Ben, they've released a trailer for it.
Right.
And holy moly, Ben. Holy manjoli bolies. It looks brilliant.
It looks
Ben.
very good, Michael.
It's straight from the page.
Hopped straight off the Latinock.
It's hopped straight off the latnock, Ben, as they say. And Ben, I tell you what, though. Sometimes when it hops straight off the latnock, you're worried that it's going to be like 60s Spider-Man.
Oh,
and
which you
everyone's
don't
just
want.
going to be moving one limb at a time like South Park. But, it looks great. It looks absolutely fabulous, Ben. It looks absolutely fabulous.
Do you know what I'm most excited about, Michael?
Is it that J.K. Simmons is in it?
J.K. Simmons is in it as Omni-Man.
J.K. Simmons is Omni-Man. He's from the Omni Centre in Dublin's North Side. Yeah, what a cast, Ben. J.K. Simmons is your favourite and mine, Zazie Beetz.
Oh, Zazie Beetz.
Yeah, it's Zazie, but anyway.
Zazie Beetz.
There's some serious voice talent in this, Ben, and the animation looks great. I think this is going to be the best animated cartoon adult superhero series of all time.
We have the best people working on it, Michael. The best podcast for anything. So.
This week on Trumpish Declarations, our new segment. It's going to be the best podcast, Ben. It's going to be the best cartoon. The people working on it, I've met them personally.
I have a great understanding of animation, the best understanding of animation. I've gone to the real school. The real school.
It's going to be great. So, Benjamin, I am thoroughly, as you would say, looking forward to it.
I often look forward to things, Michael. I often look forward to things. It's something I'm very well known for.
Yeah.
Probably the best known for, Michael.
Yeah. Benjamin, I think we should drop this drum thing. I don't know if people will enjoy it. People are going to enjoy it. Everyone's going to enjoy it.
Everyone's going to enjoy it.
I've spoken to some good friends. I've asked them. They enjoyed it.
If someone says they don't enjoy it, they're a liar.
We have to stop this. What are we doing? What's next, Ben? Do you have a list? I've lost track of
Michael, you have
I've
the
lost
list for
track of my
trailers.
thoughts. The Watch.
The Watch,
Ben.
Michael.
Ho ho ho! Now,
Yeah.
Ben. Now here we go. Here we
Yeah.
go. Now, remember when I said a minute ago that I liked the comic book Invincible?
Yes.
And it was a comic book series by Robert Kirkman by Image Comics, and it looks like the adaptation of it to screen is straight from the page, Ben, or straight from the latnock, as they would say in the old Gaelga.
Hopped off the Latnock, Michael. I think you'll find.
Yeah. And what are we doing? Off the latnock. Oh no, let's compose ourselves here. Benjamin, sometimes people like when it looks like it hopped straight off something. But I tell you what though, the Watch doesn't look like that at all, does it?
No.
Not at all. Not at all. Ben, I've read the Watch books. The Watch books were my favourite Terry Pratchett books.
They are my favourite Terry Pratchett books as well, Michael.
Yeah. I like the Watch. I'm not a big fan of the Witches.
No.
But I like the Watch. I like the post-service ones. I have to say though, I never imagined Sergeant Vimes, as a Northern Ireland Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? He is that is the most accurate. It's Jack Sparrow if he grew up during the Troubles. It's weird.
Yeah. It's bizarre. What a bizarre choice.
Yeah, interesting. It's just such a weird choice in general, Michael. It's very anachronistic. It's very all over the place.
Yeah. There's a little cut in the middle of it where it says "meanwhile" in some subdimension.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're trying to say that this is a different watch. To which I would say, why are you doing that? It's probably his most beloved series.
It's bizarre. And then after that, it looks like it's set in the modern day.
Yeah, because they have a punk band, Michael.
Yeah, what's going on? Well, I mean, like, fair enough, Ben. If you read the Discworld series,
Go on.
from start to finish.
Well done, first of all.
Well, well done. It's easier to do than Stephen King's The Dark Tower series, but it starts off very early medieval sword and sorcery.
It does.
Kind of world.
And it progresses.
And it progresses, Ben, too fast chronologically.
Yes, far too fast, Michael.
Yeah, and I mean the modern, not the modern books because old Terrell Pratchett is dead now, but the most recent books, the last books, are set in almost early modern times. Obviously, a fantasy version of early modern times.
Yes, there's a thatched roof.
There's telegrams. It's getting into the modern world, so it looks like the Watch is set then.
Yes, well, that's fair enough.
Yeah, but then it looks even more anachronistic in that they just look like they're in modern rooms.
Yeah, I think someone said, and I didn't bother combing through the trailer, but someone said one of them's on a computer at one point and he nearly flipped his shit. He was like, no.
What?
No.
Yeah, it's weird. What's going on?
The costuming is quite interesting as well, Michael.
The clothes have very modern cuts to them.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going for. Naturally, Michael, in the cesspit that is the internet, and this is quite anti Terry Pratchett.
Oh, go on.
People were complaining that Lord Veterinary,
yeah,
basically the boss of Ankh-Morpork, where this is set, is a woman. They're like, no, she looks like Lady Veterinary.
Yeah. She does, and she looks a little bit like Missy from Doctor Who.
Yeah, she does, doesn't she? She's got a real Missy about her.
She's got that look, all right.
Probably doesn't bode well, Michael, that Terry Pratchett's daughter removed her name from the project.
Yeah, she said, "This isn't the Watch.
This isn't my father's The Watch either."
Yeah.
And it's a shame because I think a lot of people would probably agree with us, Michael, and say that The Watch is their favourite iteration of Discworld. It's just a very entertaining bunch of lads.
Some people like The Witches.
Yeah, it's
Some
interesting.
people like Granny Weatherwax.
Some people do, Michael. But,
some people like Death.
Death is great, in fairness.
Some people like... what else does he do, Ben?
He does the postal services with... what's his name? Lipwig?
Yeah. But, yeah. It's weird. It doesn't appeal to me, Ben. If it didn't have Terry Pratchett's name on it, I wouldn't give it a second look, to be honest.
I don't think I will be watching it, Michael.
Ben, we'll have to watch at least an episode so we can complain or eat crow.
Michael, let's say Michael is holding up a little crow there. I'm going to quickly print screen this just so we have it for later on. Just give me a second. Oh, there we go. Got him eating crow. Got him eating crow.
Does it look like I'm eating the crow or kissing the crow?
Oh, no, it looks like it looks like you're doing something else to the crow now.
No, I'm giving it a little kiss.
It's very tender. It's a lot of confusing emotions being raised in me right now. Let's
His
move
name
on.
is Edgar.
Edgar Allan Crow.
Yeah. Very good.
So
Very good. Now, Benjamin.
yeah,
Speaking of comic book to TV screen adaptations that play fast and loose with gender swapping and
look at you.
character origins, The
Michael,
Boys
finesse.
season 2. Yeah, I just finessed that, didn't I? If I was a lady, Ben, my name would be Vanessa Williams. Because I'm always finessing things. Oh no!
What has happened to us today, Michael?
It's gone. We've lost it. We finally lost the quality.
What
of the
is
podcast.
going on?
Benjamin,
Go on.
I've been watching The Boys season 2 from start to finish on the TV, the virtual TV channel Amazon Prime, or as you
virtual
call
TV
it,
channel.
Amazon Prime.
Yes, that's exactly what
Okay.
people say. What has happened to our podcast, Michael?
Benjamin,
Go on.
I have watched The Boys season 2 from start to finish on Amazon Prime, and I tell you what, Ben, I loved every minute of it.
That's because it's very fucking good, Michael.
It was absolutely brilliant.
Now, Michael, are we doing spoilers here for the listeners?
We are doing spoilers for the listeners, Ben, and spoilers for the Benjamins who haven't seen the final episode.
Well, I don't mind the spoilers, Michael. So let's do it for the listeners. Let's have a little
All right.
a listener spoiler break.
Okay, you put a little jingle in, Ben.
You ready?
Yeah.
Turn it off now if you don't want to hear the end of Boys Season 2, where Carl Urban will give you a spanking. There
Yeah,
you go.
very good. Yeah. I tell you what, Benjamin.
Go on.
Very, very good. Very,
Very, very
good
good.
show. Now, Benjamin,
Yes.
as you know,
Yes.
I, for one, do not like the comic The Boys.
No, it's mean, and you changed my opinion on it too, Michael. When I was but a wee lad, Michael, of
It's
say
mean,
15,
it's gross, it's unpleasant.
14.
Yeah.
I read
It
The Boys
was-
and I went, oh yeah, look at this.
Yeah, everyone's getting killed and doing
So
sex
edgy.
on each other. Although, isn't The Boys, Ben... Oh no, maybe that's not The Boys. It's not The Boys where the superhero squad turns out to be pedophiles, is it?
Oh, there's a couple of pedophiles in there.
Are there a couple of pedophiles? But
Oh,
what
no,
was
you're thinking of...
Astro City? Is that
not
Astro City?
City.
Top
It's
10?
a really cruel version of Astro. There's another one again, offshoot of that, and yeah, there's a lot of that.
Was it top 10? Was it top 10 where the Justice League equivalent turned out to be a pedophile ring and the sidekicks were the victims?
Yeah, I think it's actually called Sidekicks, but I'm not 100% sure.
I think
need
the sidekick group were called sidekicks. It might
I
be
know
top
what
10.
you're talking about, and I haven't got the name right here, but I will look it up. But Michael,
Anyway,
the
we've
problem
gone on a
with
tangent there.
the problem with the comic The Boys, Michael, it's just fucking mean.
Yeah, it's very mean and unpleasant. And the TV show, Ben, is gross. And, ultra violent.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, most of the people in the TV show are good people.
Yes, they've all got little hearts of gold.
Almost everyone in the TV show is in some way redeemable.
Almost.
Almost. Not everyone. Some of them are literally Nazis.
Yeah, so we won't be redeeming them. Hang on, my dog's about to bark, Michael. So you spin your wheels.
No, that's fine, Ben. The listeners don't mind dog barking. They like it. They request it every week. Benjamin, so yeah, some of them are literally Nazis. For example, Stormfront, Ben. And the best thing that happened... I'm just going to spin my wheels while you feck off. All right. I'll just keep going then. The best thing that happens, Ben, in the season is... do you remember, Benjamin, in Marvel's The Avengers Endgame? When
Yes.
all of the female characters teamed up kind of unnecessarily.
Almost for a bit of a bloody shining example with little or no purpose. But yeah.
Yeah. But in this, Ben, they have a great all-female moment where all of the female characters team up and kick the shit out of Stormfront.
Oh, good.
And the good thing is she's also a lady.
Oh, so it's fine.
Not that it's fine. It's not like... I know Thanos is barely a man. He's a big purple monstrosity thing.
He is.
It's great that the three ladies team up and kick the shit out of the evil lady. And it's possibly even better that it's like a feminist, an immigrant, and a lesbian kicking the shit out of a Nazi.
Get on it.
Oh, yeah. And that's probably the best moment of the episode when they do that. It's very good. It's very good, and it's very rewarding and very interesting. It's not perfect though, Ben, because possibly the American influence of it, where everyone has to be redeemable and everyone does have a good side.
Yeah, you know that a lad from Northern Ireland didn't write this one. They're not letting the cynicism lie in this one.
Like, by the end of this season, there are too many of the 7 on the side of good.
No good.
You know? And even all of the boys are good.
They're all a sound bunch of lads.
Even Billy Butcher is
No, not
good.
Billy Butcher.
He's good. He's not morally ambiguous. He's a goodie. He's a flat-out goodie.
No good.
Yeah,
No
you see what I'm saying? So it does lose a little bit of its kick in that sense.
One of the more interesting things about the comic, Michael, and one of the only redeeming features of it is that Billy Butcher is an out-and-out, as he would say himself, wanker.
No, he's the worst.
Yeah, and he dies a horrible, horrible death in the comics as a result of that.
No, he might go that way in the TV show if it runs a couple more seasons.
Well, he
but
might.
It doesn't seem like it. There's no moral ambiguity in this, really.
Yeah. There's no grey area.
Yeah, and it's terrifying to say it, even Homelander and Black Noir and the real shitbirds in it are humanized slightly by at least not being as bad as Stormfront.
That's the handy thing about Nazis. At least we're not Nazis.
At least they're not Nazis. So there is a great line in it where Stormfront is trying to convince Homelander's son that a white genocide is coming.
Oh dear.
And Homelander just kind of gives it a little wink and goes, "Oh yeah," and then everything starts going a bit wrong anyway. But yeah, it's very good. But it does lack. I understand the irony of me saying this, having said it's better than the comic because it's less edgy. But it is lacking a tiny bit of moral grey.
Just a smidge.
Just a little tiny bit. It would be nice if the boys were a little bit more ambiguous in their morals, rather than just being flat out. No, nothing other than completely golden good guys.
Do you know what we are, lads? We're a great bunch of lads.
Grand bunch of lads. The boys are a grand bunch of lads. My other slight niggle with it, Ben, with the show as a whole, is I think Karen Fukuhara is a little bit too glamorous to play the female.
The female.
Yeah. She never looks dishevelled or... She's always like perfect makeup, perfect hair.
It's Karen Fukuhara.
Yeah.
She's just a delight.
She's a delight, and she has a lovely YouTube channel where she gets her
does.
co-stars.
I found the YouTube channel this week as well. She has drinks with Emma. What's her name? Moriarty? Is it
Erin Moriarty?
Erin Moriarty.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, she seems like a lovely person.
She's a lovely person.
Generally, the female in the comics was pretty dishevelled looking.
Yes.
Like in big baggy black clothes and
Did
hair
not care
combed.
for the trappings of modern society.
Yeah. And Karen Fukuhara is a bit too glamorous and friendly looking. But other than that, brilliant.
Yes, a very good series,
yeah.
Michael. I look forward to season 3. I look forward to finishing season 2.
It's already been renewed for season 4, I believe.
Wow, that's a lot of preempting, isn't it?
I think, Ben.
But it has, Michael. I read a tweet, Michael, and you're going to give me your thoughts
read?
on this because that'll be useful podcast fodder. I read a tweet saying, if you ever wanted proof that the Netflix one pump and dump model of content doesn't work, then take a look at the success of The Boys, because it is a thing where weekly releases do seem to build more anticipation, more lasting discourse.
I have thoroughly enjoyed getting up every Saturday morning, Ben, having a bowl of cereal and some toast and a cup of tea and watching The Boys.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. It's been very good. I really enjoyed watching it that way, and I'm somewhat sad that I won't have something to look forward to next Saturday.
Oh, see, that's interesting, because that model seems to be making a return, Michael. Lovecraft Country went a similar route.
Yeah.
So I wonder, are people just like, well, we'd like a cultural footprint, please. So if we could just slow our roll.
Funnily enough, Ben, I haven't kept up on Lovecraft Country.
Neither have I, nor have I.
Interesting, isn't it? Because I would have said Lovecraft Country was probably a higher quality series.
It definitely
is. It didn't quite grip me as much as The Boys did. I'll definitely watch it. I'll definitely catch up on it. But I didn't catch up. I didn't keep up on a week by week basis.
Yeah.
What service is Lovecraft Country on? That might be why. I might not
HBO
have
Max.
it. Yeah, I don't have that.
You can't keep up.
So I have to fly to America every time I want to watch it.
And because we're so COVID conscious, Michael, we won't be doing that.
Too COVID conscious here, Ben.
Too
Benjamin.
COVID conscious.
I tell you what, though, wasn't The Boys in some ways an interesting look at the effect superpowers will have on the military-industrial capitalist complex?
You smooth little son of a gun.
Look, it's not my first
Slid
rodeo,
in.
Ben.
Slid in.
Like a slippery snake.
Yeah, Michael, one of the more interesting things for me, Michael.
Yes.
I didn't realise, Michael, sorry, this is apropos of nothing.
Yeah.
Eric Kripke, Supernatural's Eric Kripke, is the showrunner and producer of The Boys.
Amazon. Yeah, I did know that, yeah.
That's gas.
No, that's
so much
well
better
known.
than Supernatural.
That's a well-known fact. Yeah. Well, it's a different market, isn't it?
But
Ben?
more proof, Michael, that Eric Kripke knows how to make a bloody endearing series.
He can put a show together, all right.
He can put a show together, can our Eric?
Yeah.
I mean,
I watched a New York Comic Con panel with him and the cast of The Boys.
Yes.
Except Anthony Starr, and he introduced Aya Cash, who plays Stormfront.
All right.
As everyone's favorite Nazi, Aya Cash. And
Nice.
she did not look best pleased.
I wouldn't say she did.
Because in real life, Benjamin, she comes from a Jewish background. I don't know if you know.
That's pretty tough. That's pretty tough.
But that's acting for you, Ben.
That's acting. Sometimes
That's
people
acting
aren't
for
the
you.
exact same as their superpowered character on a televisual show. But
Yeah,
Michael,
yeah. For example, Ben, Karen Fukuhara, YouTube channel, always having a chat.
always having a banter. A bit of,
Yeah.
all aboard the banter bus with Karen.
Yeah. Great.
Great young one. Very good stunt performer as well, Michael. Did you see her?
Oh,
Did you
yeah,
see
she
the
do a
behind the
flip.
scenes moves?
She'll do a flip for you, all right, yeah.
Karen's got some moves.
Big fan of Karen, yeah. Benjamin, do you know that she has a sword that can steal a man's soul?
Yeah, but that's only because Joel Kinnahan told me while I was on a plane with him.
Yeah. You'll never see it.
He never
Anyway,
shut
what are we
up
talking
about it, Michael? He just said it on repeat. It was mental. Right, moving on from there. Michael,
Yes.
you mentioned the military-industrial complex, which is pretty
Yeah.
interesting because that's the
thanks.
entire early conceit of season 2 of The Boys. Homelander, that
Yeah.
son of a gun,
Yeah.
has landed Voight in a bit of hot water
Go on.
because he went and bloody supplied V to some terrorists
Yeah.
outside the United States, and it became a global thing. And naturally, Michael, the US military force might not have been best equipped to deal with superpowered terrorists. So, Voight have managed to fandangle their way into the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, I think it's Vought.
What did I say?
Voight.
Oh yeah, I keep saying Voight. Sorry, it's definitely
That's Adrian
Vought.
Voight from Watchmen you're thinking of.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. Never mind.
Yeah.
Vought is what I meant. My apologies.
Yeah.
Give me that crow. Give me that crow. I have to.
Eat that crow. Eat Edgar.
Crow. Nom 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 nom.
Give him a little kiss.
Yeah, give a little kiss. There you go. Little kiss for the crow. Little kiss for the. This is mental. So anyway, it's pretty interesting to see, and it's a bit of a commentary, I suppose, on the United States at the moment, where private companies vie for contracts for weapons and weapons design and equipment because they're very lucrative contracts, Michael. Millions and millions and millions of dollars. And this one is people. They want their people in on the ground.
Superpower people.
One of the more interesting chats is when Gustavo of Breaking Bad fame
Yeah.
is having
Edgar.
a chat with one of the senators, and he's like, well, it's going to be our standard contract for any of our personnel, which will be collateral damage included. And and the guy says, well, what's the average that we're looking at here? Oh, 60% and up. It's like, wow.
Officially zero, Ben.
Officially zero, naturally.
Of course, Ben, that character is played by Jim Beaver. Good
Jim
friend
Beaver.
Eric Kripke.
Very important character in the Supernatural canon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
Bobby.
friend of Eric Kripke.
Bobby, good mates. But Michael, that got us thinking.
Yes.
And we said to ourselves, Michael, we said, why don't we do politics in pop culture? Because
All right, let's do it then.
what a topic. So we put it out to the lads, Michael, and we got thinking about different things. But let's kick it off with a classic, Michael.
All right.
From one Northern Irish penned story to another Northern Irish penned story on occasion. Judge
on.
Dredd.
Yes.
Which has some of the most interesting politics I think I've ever seen, Michael. It's, I suppose you could call it a far-right wet dream, only it isn't.
It's
It
a police
depends on-
state, Ben.
Huh?
It's a police state.
It's a police state, Michael, in every sense of the word, where Dredd quite often says, I am judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah.
And that's because, Michael, crime has gotten so out of control. And it kind of enters into that interesting debate from, am I allowed to go super tossery?
Yeah.
Am I allowed to do that?
You do whatever you want.
So, Michael, I suppose it's based roughly on the concept of the Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes.
Oh, here we go.
See, I did ask.
I'm just representing the listeners, Ben.
I did ask.
Oh, here we go.
I did ask. And the central conceit of Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes is, what does a human being value more, liberty or security?
Yeah.
And really, what are you willing to give up for security is the central conceit of Judge Dredd. And apparently, the answer is just about everything.
Is it though, Ben? Because it's not, you don't, and I don't know enough about the creation of the world politics in Judge Dredd, but you certainly don't feel that the man on the street thinks that this is the right way to do things.
Yeah, see, that's the more interesting thing, Michael, is it is at its core a satire.
Yeah. Well, almost all of these are, aren't they?
Almost all of them, but we'll get to that, Michael. We'll get to that. Oh, because
right.
boy, does it get messy. In the case of Judge Dredd, it really loses the run of itself in terms of the modern era, because a lot of American politics does look a little bit like what Dredd predicted.
Here we go.
Which is
all right. Go on.
No. Just settle down before you lambaste
on
me.
this. Yeah,
before you lambaste me, right?
I will. Yeah.
There's a famous character in the Judge Dredd series called Zaphod Beetlebrox.
Is Zaphod Beetlebrox not from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Oh yeah, no, it is. Damn it, I've mixed up my notes. There's a character. What's his name in the Judge Dredd thing? It's in the graphic novel America.
Judge Anderson?
I can't remember. I'm going to have to look it up. But anyway, there's a character in that, and there's a presidential character in Judge Dredd America, which is considered to be one of the best Judge Dredd graphic novels going.
Right.
And it's a reality TV guy who became president and who stirs up a bunch of bigotry to make sure that people stay on his side. And it's pretty interesting, Michael, that was predicted all the way back in the late 80s. I'm going to have to look that up now, and I will get his name. But as you go, we'll get on to Zaphod Beeble. I can't say his name. We'll get on to Zaphod later. But yeah, Judge Dredd is interesting. I think it really enters into that question of the older you get, do you lean into conservatism and try and keep yourself safe no matter the cost? Or in the world of Judge Dredd, with the amount of crime that's in it, is a judge the only viable option for law enforcement? I don't know.
And what do you think?
It's interesting. Well, for me, Michael, in their world, I feel like the judge doesn't see shades of grey.
Well, that's the point, isn't it? Well, there's a thing about judges, which I can't remember where I read this, Ben, but the most feared judges by the populace, the kind of generally law-abiding populace, not your complete criminal scum, but your generally law-abiding populace who might bend a rule or two occasionally, Ben. Like they might fly to America every time they need to see an episode of Lovecraft Country.
Maybe.
They most fear the new judges.
Yeah, because they're bloody
because
zero tolerance.
They're fanatics. They're the letter of the law lunatics.
Yes.
And some of the older judges develop a bit more of a conscience or a bit more of an ability to make decisions on the spot. And the question with that is, which one is Judge Dredd? Because in our modern world,
yes,
the policeman who can make moral judgments and, try and figure things out is more of a hero. But that's not what we were told about what Judge Dredd should be.
Yeah, no,
Judge Dredd is the law.
Judge Dredd is the law.
Yeah. He doesn't make decisions, Ben. He just parses the law.
Yeah, and it gets messy. It gets messy, Michael.
He's always shooting people.
Those parodies were everywhere in the late 80s. RoboCop was another one.
Yes, well, RoboCop's a very interesting one, Ben, because that's where I wanted to go next. Cause
Go on.
It leads us down the road of Paul Verhoeven and his mad films. For one, all right, so it's about a kind of lawman who only knows the letter of the law.
Yeah, dead or alive.
Like, you're coming with me,
Classic.
and I'm going to shoot off your Mickey. I think he says that.
That's definitely one of his 7 action phrases when you buy the toy.
One of his favorite catchphrases. I'm going to shoot you in the Mickey. What are we saying? Yeah, but so there's that. But aside from the fact that it has an unrelenting letter of the law lawman as its hero.
Yes.
Is
it the hero though? Is it the hero?
Yeah, well, he is the hero. He's the hero of the film. I mean, I have RoboCop action figures. When I was a child,
you have an action figure of everything. There's a bloody me action figure up behind you.
That's a voodoo doll. But I mean, there were RoboCop kids cartoons in the 80s. There were RoboCop cereal. There was RoboCop was presented as the hero.
No, but initially he wasn't. Sure, he wasn't. It was supposed to be a satire, and then because he was a big cool robot guy, kids were like, "Oh, that's cool." And I'm sure Paul Verhoeven was like, "Oh no, oh no, you've misunderstood."
Well, that leads us to our point, Ben. Thank you very much.
Go on.
Because for one thing, the world of RoboCop is a very interesting, a very interesting projection of a potential future policy wherein law enforcement has been privatized.
It has.
It's capitalism gone mad. So there are massive super corporations who own everything, and society itself is kind of crumbling.
Oh, poor society.
Yeah. But Paul Verhoeven has a bit of a tendency to take these ideas and make parodies of them, and then parody them so well that a lot of people miss the message.
That's unfortunate. So wait, what else has Paul Verhoeven done? You're gonna have to.
He's done 1997 Starship Troopers.
Oh, but get out of town, Michael. Good enemy of the podcast sent that in to me to have a little look at this week.
Well, that's what I'm bloody saying, Ben.
Oh, that's excellent work, Michael. That's excellent work.
This is a fascinating one because Paul Verhoeven also made Starship Troopers, Ben. Have you seen the film Starship Troopers?
I have bits, not all of it.
You haven't seen all of the film Starship Troopers?
I don't do old films.
It's not an old film. You absolute cunt. I can't believe I just unironically called you a cook. We might have to get that under control. That's only funny when it's out of context. Benjamin, what was I saying?
Paul Verhoeven, Starship Troopers.
Paul Verhoeven, Starship Troopers, 1990 something, Ben.
Yes. Starring your friend of mine, Barney Stinson.
Starring your friend and mine, Casper Van Dien, is the story of Johnny Rico, Ben.
Johnny Rico.
And Johnny Rico is from Buenos Aires. And in the future that Johnny Rico lives in, Ben, the only way to become a citizen and to have a vote is to sign up and join the military.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So, a lot of people would prefer, a lot of older kind of hippie liberals...
Oh, the libs.
Would prefer if their kids didn't sign up and join the military and go off and sacrifice their lives to fight distant wars. But the kids are like, we have to do our civic duty and become citizens. And it's easy for you being citizens already because you were citizens before this system came in. But, joining the military and learning your place as a soldier and learning the importance of the military in the world is the only way for us to become citizens. And the bugs just blew up Buenos Aires.
The goddamn bugs.
Goddamn bugs, which is slightly racist. But look, they're aliens, so it's fine. We can call them whenever we want.
Yeah, it's grand when they're aliens.
Yeah. So in the film Starship Troopers, Ben, all of the goodies, as it were, Ben, they're dressed like Nazis.
Yeah, it reminds me very, very much of that Mitchell and Webb sketch.
Maybe we're the baddies.
Hans, are we the bad guys?
Yeah, so in Starship Troopers, humans are the bad guys, Ben.
Yeah.
In the film Starship Troopers, humans are the bad guys because humans went to Clandatu, the bug home world, and tried to colonize it, not caring what the bugs thought about that.
Dicks.
That's not exactly what happens. I think it was a satellite planet or something. But The thing about Starship Troopers, Ben, the film, is it is very much a parody of the potential for the human political system to turn fascist.
On a dime.
On a dime, Ben. And, you know, the value of militarism above everything else and how a society can revolve around its military.
Almost a question raised by Thomas Hobbes in Leviathan, where he asked, which is more important, liberty or security?
Exactly, Ben. That's what I'm saying.
You're welcome.
So, yeah. So in the film Starship Troopers, Ben, it's such a fun, gung-ho film about young, sexy, attractive soldiers taking on horrible bugs. And Michael Ironside's in it, and he's got a robot hand.
Oh.
And it's cool. It's a really cool film.
It is cool.
And the promotional videos, the propaganda videos that are throughout it are fun. Would you like to know more? Ben, they're fun. They're fun and they're funny.
They're jazzy.
And they're jazzy. And, you know, the whole time you're laughing and you're going, kill those bugs. Let's exterminate the bugs, the assholes. And the whole time you're having a great time. And you're not really cognizant of the fact that nearly every single one of them is based on a Nazi propaganda film from the 30s.
Yeah, they probably could have telegraphed that a little bit more. But
I don't think he should have. Because I think Starship Troopers, the 1997 film Starship Troopers, works on both levels supremely well.
I'm going to have to go watch the whole film now, Michael. God damn.
I can't believe you didn't for this podcast, because it's one of the best examples of seemingly, if you're an idiot, pro-fascist imagery in science fiction.
Yeah.
Because it's a spectacularly good, campy, bug-fighting, alien-fighting monster film.
I think
and at the same time, an incredible satire of a fascistic society.
That was one of the big mess-ups for... I don't know if you remember this, Michael. Do you remember Cracked.com?
Yes.
It's still going, I think. But they did a really interesting series for a couple of years where four friends sat in a diner and discussed pop culture topics.
I vaguely remember it.
I think it was called After Hours. But I remember one of the controversial episodes for them was that one of the conceit was that Starship Troopers glorified fascism. And I remember when I was younger reading the comments were like, you've missed the point of the movie, guys. Oh, guys, this is terrible. You're my favorite series, but you've missed the point of the movie.
Have you read Robert A. Heinlein's book, Starship Troopers?
No, I haven't. I've been recommended it by enemy of the podcast, Shane.
Yeah, and usually, Ben, you would read it. It is an interesting one. And, Ben, I'm going to do a little admittance here.
Oh, an admittance, eh?
I'm doing an admittance. I have read Starship Troopers, but I did not reread it for this podcast.
How could you not? How big is it, Michael?
It's not that big. It's kind of a novella, I think.
Right, I will read it for next week's podcast.
Okay, very good. It is the story of Johnny Rico, Ben.
Johnny Rico.
And Johnny Rico's in the mobile infantry.
Cool.
And the mobile infantry are fighting the bugs.
The damn bugs.
And it's very light on plot, Ben, because it's basically the story of Johnny Rico's training.
It's a character-driven story, Michael.
No, it isn't.
Oh. It's not a character-driven story, Michael.
No, it's not a character-driven story, Ben. It's a philosophy-driven... A large part of the book is taken up by us being in Johnny Rico's political and morality classes.
Okay.
And he's hearing about
stuff.
You know, the importance of having a strong military and the importance of every member of society.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, here's the question, Ben. When and I don't know the answer to this, but when that book came out, and compared to Paul Verhoeven's 1997 film Starship Troopers, this one seems much more sincere in what it's saying.
Oh.
Right? So the bugs, Ben, the bugs are communists.
Dirty, dirty, dirty red bugs.
Yeah, exactly. And the bugs are communists, and Earth is America.
Oh.
And was Robert Heinlein promoting a fascist America to fight communism? Or was that a satire which was misunderstood in its time?
We're going to have to go and read this, Michael, now.
Do, Ben. Do, it's good.
Right, I'll research that for next week's pod. We'll have a mini discussion before the main topic.
And Benjamin, it introduced the concept of power armor to science fiction.
Is that? Get out of town.
Yeah. So that's where the origin of Space Marines from Games Workshop, Halo.
What?
They all came. Iron Man. They all came. I don't know if Iron Man did, but they all came originally from the mobile infantry in.
That's pretty interesting, Michael. That's a pretty big contribution to sci-fi.
Yeah, it's a very good book, Ben.
Good for them.
It's credited as the originator of military science fiction.
Get out of town.
Yeah.
Games Workshop, start paying some money to the old Heinlein estate there. They won't, but you know.
Well, they won't. But Games Workshop, Ben, the world of Games Workshop is based on Heinlein. It's based on Dune. It's based on
H.P. Lovecraft.
More recently, yeah. But there's a lot of Dune in it. There's a lot of Heinlein.
There is,
in
actually.
it. You know, it's a mishmash. It's just everything that British teenagers in the 80s thought was cool.
And it all went into a little board game.
Yeah.
Michael, you've never mentioned this on the podcast before, but you're a huge fan of Image Comics series Invincible.
Have I ever talked about it? It's a great series. It's about a teenage boy, and he discovers he has the superpowers of his dad, who's like a kind of Superman type character, but he's from Dublin's North Side.
He's from Dublin North Side and founded the Omni Shopping Centre.
Yeah, he's the Omni man.
His battle cry is North Side, North Side. A great big shopping centre. That's his battle cry.
Now, Ben, I am going to point out that the Northside Shopping Centre and the Omni Centre are two separate shopping centres on Dublin's North Side.
I know, but he founded all retail outlets on the north side of Dublin.
Right. Okay, yeah, great. Where are you going with this?
Michael, that has some of the most interesting space politics I think I've ever seen.
Go on.
There's kind of an imperialistic fascist society. Based, and this is spoilers for anyone who hasn't read the series that came out in 2000 something.
Yeah.
But basically, Mark is a member of the Viltrum. Right, you're gonna have to fix my
Viltrumites. He's a Viltrumite.
He's a Viltrumite, and Viltrumites are mustache sporting supermen.
Yeah.
That's their vibe. Except they seem to be even more powerful than the regular Superman. Because if you juke them up and rip them apart a bit, they heal pretty darn good.
They heal pretty darn good, yeah.
And they heal stronger than before. That's the kind of thing. They literally, biologically follow the mantra of what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
And they're a bit of a space conqueror, a bit of a space Britain.
A little bit.
With a little bit more of a salt the earth, scorch kind of vibe. So they infiltrate planets.
Yeah.
And they set themselves up as heroes. They kind of do their reconnaissance. And then they're like, cool, let's take this planet into the fold. And they do that. But if you don't get on board, Michael, ugh.
Yeah, they're gross.
Ugh. And then, Michael, to combat that scourge of Viltrumites, you had the Coalition of Planets.
Mm.
And that,
They sound
Michael,
nice. Yeah.
over the arc of the Invincible storyline, fucking fantastic, because the Coalition of Planets is a weird utopian society. There's a moment in it where some of the superheroes from Earth, the Grayson family, move to Themyscira. I'm not going to get that right. Themyscira or something like that. I can never pronounce it.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I hate stuff like that. Anyway, it's the central planet, the hub planet of the Coalition of Planets. And a crime takes place, and the superhero goes to take care of it. And then the police officers shut it down in seconds.
Good.
In a non-violent, detainable way. And they're like, oh yeah, we don't need superheroes because we're a goddamn utopia and it takes care of itself pretty much. And it's like, okay. So it's pretty interesting, Michael. But over time, the fascinating thing that happens there, and the central premise is, the Coalition of Planets gets a bit extreme in its combating of the Viltrumites.
Yeah.
And the Coalition of Planets begins to look an awful lot like a bunch of athletic, mustache-sporting sons of guns.
Oh, Ben. So what you're saying is... you become that which you hate. Yeah,
it ends up being quite an interesting treatise on maintaining power and the corruption that lies within that. And Michael,
yes,
the reason I bring that up is it's been quite heavily inspired by Ian M. Banks' Culture series.
Oh, never heard of it.
Yeah, I haven't read it, Michael, but this was sent in by good pal of the pod, Dr. Cadwell.
Yeah.
Dr. Stephen J. Cadwell. And he gave me a shout and said, look, you're not going to be able to read any of these in time for the podcast. And he was right.
How wrong he was. You mean read the books?
Yes, read the books.
You read the texts.
The Culture series is quite a few different novels, Michael. The first one coming out in 1987, and the last one coming out in 2016. I want to say 16.
Okay. Quite recent.
By a Scottish author. and Ian Banks, and it features around the concept the culture is a collective, similar to the coalition of planets from Invincible, Michael.
Right.
But they are what they call a hyperpower.
Oh.
And a hyperpower within a political system is a ruling country or state that has absolute dominion over its conquered states, its coalesced states, whatever you want to call it.
Is that not called a hegemony? Hegemony?
Hegemony?
Hegemony?
I think it's a hegemony, but hyperpower is the layman way of putting it, and I figured I'd go with that. So,
all right, go on then.
This one is a super advanced hyperpower. AI runs throughout the city. It's almost perfect.
Oh, almost.
Almost. The central conflict of it is, Michael, it's an ever-expanding perfect empire. And that doesn't sound right, because utopias shouldn't want to expand. But basically, throughout this series of novels, the central conceit is kind of, what do you do with a civilization that doesn't want to accept your better civilization?
Uh-oh.
How do you deal with that? And that's the central conceit throughout the Culture series by Ian M. Banks. And it's pretty interesting. Because if you know, Michael, you know that you're better in every way.
Yeah.
Right? Let's say you come across a bunch of cavemen, Michael, that have been left outside, right?
Right. Yeah.
And you propose, well, why don't we get you some vaccinations? Why don't we put you in a nice home? Why don't we give you some security and safety and an abundance of food?
Yeah.
And then the caveman goes, no.
Yeah, no, we don't want Rhodesia to be part of the British Empire anymore.
And you say, but lads, Singapore is much better as part of the British Empire.
See what we've both done there, man.
And then they say, you listen here, Paddy, our way is better. And then you say, well, hang on now, that might not be true.
Yeah. I see what you've done, yeah.
And you have two choices there, Michael. You can either starve the entire population and export all their goods to your armies abroad.
Yeah, go on.
Or you can live and let live.
Yeah.
And
What do they do in the book series?
Central
The Culture
conceit of Ian M. Banks' Culture series. And it's very worth a read. I will be reading them over the next couple of weeks for this idea. We might revisit this concept, Michael, because they look absolutely fascinating.
Nice covers. Do they have any sexy ladies like Deja Torres on the cover?
They probably do, yeah. They probably do.
Good.
I haven't looked.
Benjamin, one of my favourite utopias in science fiction is Space Europe.
Yeah, go on.
Have you ever heard of Space Europe?
No, I missed it.
Otherwise known, Ben, as the United Federation of Planets from Star Trek.
Ah, look what you did. Space
Europe.
Europe.
You see what I did? It's just Space Europe, Ben.
Go on.
So, so the United Federation of Planets, Ben, and funnily enough, I don't think this was an on-purpose parallel. This isn't a parody situation, because originally in the 60s, Ben, there wasn't really a Europe for them to base the Federation on. So the Federation was based more on NATO, I think.
Oh.
So it was kind of a group, an alliance of planets who joined together against the less nice planets.
The not-so-good planets.
Yeah. So the old Klingons, you don't want to be associated with them. So you team up with some other lads and you kind of have a pact. But you're not particularly centrally governed.
Yeah, it's like Europe and America now. I get it.
But now, these days, in modern Star Trek, and actually, let's avoid super modern Star Trek, where the most interesting thing that the writers seem to think about the Federation is when it's not doing its job properly.
Oh.
As opposed to when it was. Like the Federation of the Next Generation era, Ben. Let's talk about that.
They're the good generation for you.
They are... No, I like the Next Generation. I think Deep Space Nine is a better series, and I even enjoyed parts of Discovery. But just talking about the political system of the Federation.
More suitable to this topic.
The Federation as Space Europe was really how it was in the Next Generation era.
Okay.
So it's planets, Ben.
Yes.
And they're all in a kind of alliance. And it's kind of a republic sort of thing where they all send off their representatives from their planet to somewhere central. In Star Trek, it's Earth.
Yes.
On Earth, it's Brussels.
Oh, Brussels.
You know, well, no, it's not Brussels. It's San Francisco, I think. Yeah, San Francisco and Paris, I think. Doesn't matter.
Go on.
And, you know, there are... Ben, if you wanted your country, let's say you were a country, let's call you Turkey.
Yes.
and you wanted to join Europe,
Yeah.
then you'd go through an application process to join Europe.
And there would be needs and standards that had to be met before you could be a card-carrying member of our union.
Of Europe. Yeah, exactly. And that's pretty much how the Federation works. So
Right.
if your planet, if your little backwards planet, Colopy 2, wants to join Europe, you go, hello, we want to join the United Federation of Planets, please. They would send a representative, probably Picard, if it was one of the main characters. And he would go, and he would be like, lads, now, yous aren't racists, are yous?
You
And
better
he'd
not
like,
be.
No, we're not racists. We promise we're not racists.
Oh, but wait, what's
And he
that?
was like,
Is that a subclass that you have in
Is
camps?
this do you have a subclass over here? And they go, no, God, no, they're not a subclass. No, we're not racists over here on this planet. And then they go, oh, well, if you're not racists, then you can probably, we might let you in. Just another couple of questions, though, about the whole racism thing. Are you sure you're not racists?
Because I'll be honest, lads, if you are, it's a no-go.
It's a strict no-go if you're racist, except one or two cases from the early days where we kind of missed it because we didn't notice that they were racist. We regret that now. We've let them in. It's too late to do anything about it, but we won't be letting any new racists in.
We've got enough in our old racists and enough's enough.
Now, tell me another thing now. Is your whole planet, do you have a single planetary governance? Because then you can come in. But if you're all different countries, we won't be having you.
Have you got
Also,
factions? Are there factions?
You don't have factions? Are any of the factions racists?
Pad of factions, lads. Pad of factions.
We won't be having any racists. But yeah, so the United Federation planet, Ben, is basically a super technologically advanced Europe. And the most interesting thing about it politically is that it's probably the closest to like a nice place to live in all of science fiction, because they are post-need.
Post-scarcity, Michael.
Yeah.
Is the term. You should read Ian M. Banks' seminal culture novels.
Is it about semen?
You'd probably, yes, it's all about semen, Michael, which is your favourite topic outside of pop culture.
Gross. It is, yeah, I'm always talking about jizz. It's just everywhere.
Oh,
Anyway, I'll stop talking about the Federation of Planets now.
Michael, that sounds like a bunch of elites in space, though. That's very elite.
Well, I mean,
Non-inclusive.
that's the funny thing. Like, it's such a concept. It's such a high concept. There are certain avenues of storytelling it closes off. And sometimes the writers want to explore those stories. So in the case of the original series up to Deep Space Nine, what they would do was, let's say, visit a mirror universe.
Right.
Where rather than being a kind of democratic Europe-like union, the Federation is a fascist dictatorship.
Okay.
Or they might have, malcontented factions working within the Federation trying to work to their own gain.
Dirty malcontents.
Or even a slightly shadowy part of the union who are working as a kind of off the books. Not everything is flowers and roses, and sometimes we have to do mean things.
Oh, we have to get our hands dirty.
Exactly. But then we got to Picard, Ben, and it turned out that, it's not Europe anymore. It's a not great political system. And there are people living in depravity who can't afford things. And there are starship captains who are selling their services for and it's politically, at least, Picard doesn't make sense in the world of Star
waters.
Trek. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, Michael. Michael, this is a great episode.
Oh, I hope so. It was a bit rambly at the start, Ben.
Yeah, I think we pulled it back, though.
Okay, good.
We probably
good.
didn't. Only time will tell.
No. Only time will tell, and the listeners.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you to everybody who contributed to this week's bloody pod. Mr. Connor Dunn gave us some recommendations. Good friend of the podcast, Connor Dunn. Dr. Stephen J. Cadwell gave us a shout as well. Thank you very much, Stephen J. Cadwell.
Yeah.
And good friend of the pod, Shane, keeps making me trying to read books. God damn it, Shane.
Yeah. Even old ones from before you were born.
From before I was born. Ew. So,
Don't forget Edgar the Crow, Ben.
Edgar Allan Crow would like to say goodbye to you, ladies and gentlemen, and he would like to remind you that if you had any topics that you didn't hear covered in this one, get in touch with us in a number of different places. You can find us on the interwebs at www.seomrabjog.com.
Means tiny room in Irish.
Does indeed. You can find us on the gram at Seomrabjog. SEOMRABEAG.
It kind of means tiny room.
It kind of means tiny room. And you can also Get in touch with us by leaving us a lovely review on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you're listening to your podcasts. Go on. Give
5 stars out of 5, definitely not fascists.
5 stars out of 5, definitely not fascists, except for that Ben fella who might be a fascist.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's a good comment to leave it on.
Look, that's it for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Join us next week, where our very own Michael Leonard will be discussing a wonderful little pitch he has for Squadron Supreme.
Is that next week?
That's next week.
Oh, I better get working on that
according to the calendar.
Uh-oh.
So, that's what we're doing next week, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think of Squadron Supreme? Get in touch with us in the places we just mentioned and let us know. That's it for us.
Yeah, Ben will even do a little who even is Squadron Supreme. I think we might have done that before, but anyway, you'll do it again.
We'll be doing it again. All right, that's it. Bye-bye.
Ben, did you do collecting issues on Wednesday?
Oh, yeah, sorry. There will be, if you haven't had enough of Michael and myself and our sultry, smooth, sexy voices, you can find more of us this very Wednesday, where we'll be discussing the wonderful Boom Studios series, Something is Killing the Children. It's spooky for October. Go give it a listen.
Spookaween.
Bye-bye.
The only thing more frightening is fascism.